Well, hello and good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Jet2holidays virtual knowledge session. I'm Bryony, and alongside me today, I have my very lovely teammate, Michelle. And what an extra special bonus today is, as we are joined by Jose from Visit Portugal. So we're really looking forward to finding out more about this beautiful destination, especially now it's on that green list. So I'm just going to hand you over to Michelle, and she's going to introduce things for you.
As you can see, we've got a frequent flying programme for summer 21 to Portugal from all of our 10 UK bases. And we also have bases that have more than one flight per week. So your customers will have the option, even just for a short break, if they want to get away. So on the screen, you see we've detailed the largest frequency of flights to Faro. We've got regular flights to Madeira from 9 of our bases throughout this period. And we also have 2 weekly departures for Lisbon, which start in September from Manchester and Birmingham. So, as Bryony mentioned, we are joined by the fantastic Portugal Tourist Board today, which could not have been timed better in view to the recent green light news.
It's like we had a crystal ball.
I know, we did, yeah, we predicted that really well. So I'm going to hand you over to Jose at Visit Portugal so we can learn all about this fantastic destination. So over to you, Jose.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies from Jet2 and Jet2 as well, to give us this opportunity to talk with you about Portugal. And we're going to concentrate today on what you need to clarify your clients with regards to this situation that we are all facing, which is the COVID situation. So we'll talk first about mainland Portugal and then about Madeira, which are the 2 places that Jet2 fantastically fly to. So to Madeira, they have 9 frequencies, I think, and to mainland Portugal, Faro, they have 10, so from all their bases. And then from this summer, you're going to start flying to Lisbon from Manchester and Birmingham, which is absolutely great. So let's go. And during the presentation, if there is anyone that really wants something clarified, don't be shy, just ask, and I'll try to answer as better as I can. It's actually quite simple. A lot of people ask us, "Whoa, what are the rules?" And everybody's very confused because there is over information, I think, around the many articles that we read about the situation with COVID. But basically, all your clients have to do something to leave the UK, go into Portugal or anywhere else, which is to fill a form that is available from the border control in the UK, which is the UK Gov or something like that. But there is that form to fill. And if they go to Portugal, they need to fill a form as well for our government. That form is available on Portugal cleanandsafe.pt passenger locator card. It's a form similar to the one that the UK requests to be filled in, and is basically a way to make sure that you can trace the people if there is a case of an infection with that person. So all people flying to Faro, Lisbon, excluding children under the age of 2, will have to fill that form before they go to Portugal. At the moment, everybody flying into Portugal needs a COVID PCR test to be accepted on the flight. And that COVID test has to be taken 72 hours prior to boarding, has to have the name of the passenger, the date of birth. So it needs to be a proper certificate with all the information regarding to the test. Michelle, I promise that I won't take too long on the next one.
Don't worry, Jose, you're fine. All the guys are just dying to know what's going on, so it's all good.
So to recap, 2 forms to fill in, one from the British government, one from my government, and the PCR test. That's all they need to know, your clients. Don't confuse them with anything else, because there is nothing more to do. It's only those 2 things. Okay, now the next slide, please, Michelle. When you arrive to Portugal, obviously there are temperature controls that are almost automatic. You know, it's I don't know how they do it, but they can tell the temperature of the person as you go along. Nothing to worry about it. There is no interference with the people when you arrive there. All you need to do is to pick your luggage and show your passport, and at the same time your PCR test, if they ask you for that, because most of the times what they do is the airline asks for the PCR test, so you don't need to show it again when you arrive. One question that we are asked a lot is, can I cross the land border between Portugal and Spain? Yes, you can. Since the 30th of April, the borders are open. There are random controls that to make sure that people that crosses the border fulfill the necessary requirements and are aware about the needs of fulfilling the safety measures when they are in Portugal. Next slide, please. Now, some information on the Algarve. Everybody knows the Algarve. It's our most southern region in Portugal, with amazing beaches, very nice hotels. It's known for the sun and sea. It's a family destination. It's served by Faro Airport, like you all know. And talking about Faro, don't forget that Faro is also a city break destination. The Algarve is mainly known for their sun and sea product and the Gulf as well. But Faro can be sold all year round. It's a beautiful little city with no more than, I think, 150,000 inhabitants, or even less than that. And it's just next to the sea, beautiful restaurants, very charming. So if you have clients that wish to visit Portugal during the more quiet months of October, November, and so on, Faro is an amazing city break destination. Then you have the beaches. They are golden sandy beaches. The sea is the Atlantic, so it's not as warm as the Mediterranean, but I tell you, the beaches are absolutely great. And I've been all over those different places in the world, and I think Portugal has some of the nicest beaches around Europe. You can do walking, surfing, dolphin watching, boat trips. You can do the usual things in the Algarve. There are water parks and so on. So there is Portugal, and there is the Algarve right at the bottom of the country. Next slide, please. This is a view of Faro, actually. I just mentioned as a city break. So as you can see, it's a very charming little city, very quiet. So yeah, I recommend it as a city break. The other pictures are the Rio Formosa, one of our beaches. This one is Ilha de Faro. Absolutely amazing place. Last year I was near Quinta do Lago, staying there, and I used to go to this beach every day. There is a really nice restaurant there, right on top of the sea. Next one, please. This must be in the Guadiana River, which is the river that borders between Portugal and Spain. This guy doing it's me, no, it's not. It's doing the slide thing, it's in the Guadiana River. And on the top picture with the bicycles, that is Tavira, a really charming little city as well in the Algarve. Next one, please. To give you an idea about accommodation. This is Pousada Palácio de Estói. Pousada is a type of accommodation that exists in Portugal and in Spain as well. In Spain, they call it the paradores. In Portugal, we call it Pousada. And it's an old building transformed into tourism accommodation. I think they have about, 30 to 40 rooms. And it's a small place, but fantastic. So one type of accommodation. If we can go to the next one. The next one is part of the Pestana Group, our biggest hotel group in Portugal. And it's an amazing property. The Pestana Blue Alvor. Alvor is a very well known from the British market. A lot of people goes to that place. And this is the most recent property that the Pestana Group opened there. It's perfect for families. The next one, please.
And actually, Jose, this is one of our top selling properties at Jet2holidays. So definitely one to push out to your customers, guys, because it's selling really well at the moment.
Thank you, Michelle. Now, Lisbon. Lisbon is our capital. It's about 300 kilometers from the Algarve. Jet2 is starting flights from Birmingham, Manchester to Lisbon this summer. So your clients have another city break destination to choose for. Nearby Lisbon, you have this charming city of Sintra, or small village of Sintra. Cascais and Estoril is where the noble people used to spend their holidays in the old days, in the 1900s and so on. So it's quite charming and very close from Lisbon. You can get by train, a really charming train that goes along the coast, because it was done in those days, that was really important. About 30 minutes from the center of Lisbon. You have Mafra, a beautiful other little place not too far away from Lisbon. Very nice beaches around Lisbon as well. Not on the city center. Lisbon is bathed by the Tagus River, the Tejo River, but nearby you have the ocean as well, because Lisbon is right at the mouth of the Tagus River. You have everything to do around the Lisbon area, from walking to surfing. There are a lot of activities. So your clients can choose to fly into Lisbon from this summer with Jet2 and then explore around there. It's a city to know. If you want information, visit lisboa.com. Lisboa, not Lisbon, but Lisboa, the Portuguese way. Next slide, please, Michelle. These are views around Lisbon. It's the Arabia Natural Park, which is on the southern side of the city. an area that your clients may choose to stay. There is tourism accommodation and those beautiful beaches. Next one. To give you an idea about accommodation, the Porto Bay Liberdades, Lisbon. This is actually a Madeira group of hotels, the Porto Bay hotels. They are really good hotels, and I like them very much. I shouldn't probably force it too much because I'm independent, but it's my favorite group of hotels in Portugal. They are really good. The service, the quality of the accommodation, it's superb. They are very strong in Madeira. This is the hotel that they opened quite recently in Lisbon, and they are opening another one in Porto, or it is already open. Next one, please. This is a picture of Madeira. So we passed on from Lisbon and the Algarve to the island of Madeira. Madeira is Portugal, obviously. Many people see it almost as independent. They talk about Madeira. And this is a view on one of the mountains around there. I've been there many times. It's called Balcoins, but you can say that. You will say Balcoin or something like that. Anyway, if you want to pass to the next one. So Madeira, the airport is quite interesting. The flying to Madeira is an experience. When you arrive, you come from the southern part, I think, of the island, and then turn into this airport that is quite an interesting landing. But when you arrive to Madeira, you have a city that has been a tourism resort for the British market for actually over a century, because in the old days, the boats that come from India around the African coast would stop in Madeira, and they will get used to the European more kind of weather and then pursue to England or to the UK. The tourism accommodation is superb in Madeira. One of the great things about the hotels in Madeira is the quality of their restaurants is really good. So you can eat in a hotel and have very good food. The food is amazing. Fish is obviously the main thing, but meat as well. The skewers in Madeira are absolutely superb. I'm going to have to swallow because it's actually making me hungry. The cities to visit is Funchal, Câmara de Lobos. All these are little places that used to be just fishing ports and now are with a lot of places to stay for accommodation and visit the island. The island has a small island next to it. So the island of Madeira is an archipelago with two islands. You can see it on the south is Madeira. A bit to the north east is Porto Santo. And Porto Santo is this amazing golden beach made of sand, of this really fine sand. They actually use it for treatments as well, spa treatments kind of things. And it's just a small beach with about a 10-mile coastline. So it's a very small island and is accessible from the Madeira island by ferry boat. It takes about 2.5 hours on a boat, and you can tell your clients if they want to spend 3 days laying on a very quiet, very nice beach, they can go to Porto Santo. Within Madeira, you can do so many things: trekking, mountain biking, surf, diving spots, dolphin and whale watching. There are a couple of golf courses that are pretty good as well. Wellness and spa to hotels. So many things, walking. So next slide, please. Oh, Madeira is about 600 kilometers from the African coast. So the weather is really, really warm all year round, but it's never too hot, never too cold. These are some people watching the sunset. One of the amazing things that you feel when you are in Madeira, and probably everyone that has been on an island, that you can see really the ocean there, is how in the middle of the water you are, in the middle of the Atlantic. It's only that. There is nothing around apart from water. It's quite an amazing experience. To give you an idea about the beach in Porto Santo, the second picture or the middle picture that you see there with that family really happy jumping around, that is Porto Santo. The sand and the water is fantastic, really warm. In Madeira, as they don't have golden sandy beaches, they have these swimming pools that people use, or you can swim in the ocean. The ocean is really warm. It's fantastic. I love it anyway. Next one, please, Michelle. Again, to give you an idea about different accommodation, this is the Gala resort, Galomar, and it's worth it to talk about this hotel. This is the most environmentally friendly hotel that we have in the whole of Portugal, and probably one of the most environmentally friendly hotels in the world. It's made of materials that are all coming out from nature. So, for example, the wood that you see there, it's made of rice shells that is compacted and so on. So it's really amazing. They produce their own energy. They actually support the local population there with the energy that they produce in excess. It's a fantastic place to go, and it's near Funchal. Next one, please. Porto Bay, one of my favorites. I can't say that is my favorite, but it's an amazing group with really good hotels in Madeira. Porto Bay is a brand to keep in your head. Next one, please. Quinta da Casa Branca. Now, Madeira has, what they did is, all these were houses that used to be farms. Madeira was living on agriculture, and the houses were pretty nice and pretty good. So they transformed these houses, which we call quintas, quintas means farm, into tourism accommodation. They have from, I don't know, 6 to about 25 to 30 rooms maximum, and they are superb. So if you have a couple that wants to spend a honeymoon in Madeira, or if you want a couple that wants to have a nice quiet holiday with an afternoon tea in these places, I've done it. It's absolutely stunning. So another one, please. The Savoy Palace Madeira, we had to put it in this presentation. This is the newest addition in terms of hotel accommodation in Madeira. It's part of the Savoy group that many of you probably have heard about it. And it's an amazing hotel. It has, it's pretty big, which is unusual for the island of Madeira, but they needed this. And the hotel is absolutely superb. I was there when it was under construction, and I'm looking forward to be there in about a few weeks. I'm going to visit it again. Unbelievably good. The rooms, the quality of the hotel is superb. Next one, please, Michelle. Now, on your trip to Madeira, exactly the same that what happens to mainland Portugal. You need to have a test. Well, let's start from the beginning. You need to have the form, fill in the form from the UK government and form from the Madeira authorities. The form from the Madeira authorities is available on madeirasafe.com, and is really worth it to take note of this address, madeirasafe.com. The authorities in Madeira have been really good on making sure that the people is well informed, and this site has all the information and obviously a link to the Madeira form registration, which is a screenshot that you can see on this slide. So after you can fill the Madeira form 48 to 12 hours prior to boarding, and it must be done individually by each passenger, except dependents up to 12 years old. So it's different than mainland Portugal. Mainland Portugal is 2 years old, Madeira is 12 years old. So only people above or 12 or above will have to have a PCR test to go into Madeira. Okay? So you want to put the next slide, Michelle, and I'll explain all about the PCR test. So if you have a client interested to travel to Madeira, you have to tell him that he has to fill that form available at madeirasafe.com, and that they should take a PCR test to show on arrival. If obviously they will take a PCR test that is negative. If the test is positive, the airline won't let you board. On arrival to Madeira, you have a PCR test that is negative, you go to your accommodation and start enjoying your holiday. You don't need to worry about it anymore. But if you arrive to Madeira without a PCR test, the Madeira authorities offer you for free a PCR test on arrival. So it's quite an important point. Your clients can go to Madeira without any kind of tests. When they arrive there, they take a PCR test. Hopefully, the test will be negative, and they then will have to wait in isolation at their hotel for the results, and normally it takes about 12 hours to receive the result. When they receive the result, they can enjoy their holiday. If the test is positive, they're going to have a really long holiday in Madeira, because then they will have to be 14 days in isolation in the hotel where they were supposed to stay, at least during the time that is booked, and then in accommodation that the Madeira authorities will set up for their isolation. During those 14 days of isolation, they need to be retested all the time until they are free of COVID, and when they are free, they will be then released from isolation. So to recap, form in UK, form madeirasafe.com, PCR test negative, great, you go to your holiday. No PCR test, you do it on arrival in Madeira and is for free. Next slide, please. But Madeira has also decided, I'm not sure, oh, it's easier. Madeira has also decided to accept people into the island without a PCR test if they can prove that they have been vaccinated. I'm not sure if you are aware, but people in the UK that have been vaccinated twice, so they have completed their vaccination and want to travel to Madeira, they can show on arrival that they have been vaccinated. Your NHS has an app, the NHS app, not the COVID app, but the NHS app, that allows you to see, it's registered there, from the 17th of May, already shows that you have fulfilled your vaccination. And that is accepted as proof of vaccination. It's also accepted in Madeira as proof of that vaccination, the small card that the NHS provides. Okay, so someone arriving to Madeira that has been vaccinated and shows that they have been vaccinated 14 days before they travel to Madeira, at least 14 days before they travel to Madeira, they are allowed to proceed. Another situation, if the person has been infected with COVID within the last 90 days and wants to travel to Madeira, that person, as long as they have proof that they have been infected by a doctor, so there is a document that proves that they have been infected, they are also exempt from showing a PCR test. Okay? So, 3 situations: show a PCR test, show the vaccination, or show that you have been infected with COVID within the last 90 days. One more thing about Madeira. Anyone arriving to Madeira with a PCR test, with vaccination, or with proof that they have been infected with COVID, has a free test for their return. So this is new. Many people don't know about it, but when you arrive to Madeira with a negative test, just as you have to have a test to come back to the UK, the Madeira authorities offer you that test. Okay? Next one, Michelle. I hope that you aren't confused, but if you are, just put your hand up and tell me. And I'll try to explain it as well as I can. Now, we've gone with what you need to do to arrive to Madeira or to mainland Portugal. I will now talk a bit about what Portugal has been doing, Portugal and Madeira and all our territories, has been doing to make sure that our accommodation and our tourism service providers are fulfilling the criteria necessary to carry on their activity. We have created, right at the beginning of this pandemic, a clean and safe stamp of approval from Tourism Portugal, which is the organization I work for. This clean and safe stamp, it's for hotels, travel agencies, holiday activity companies, rent-a-car companies, golf courses, everything. Any product that has a tourism link needs to have this clean and safe stamp. When I say need, it's not compulsory, but everybody has accepted that they need to fulfill the requirements that are created to make sure that their staff and also the client is safe. And when they prove to us that they can do that, we passed on the clean and safe stamp of approval that they can use in their correspondence and so on. If you want to know a bit more about this, there is a website, portugalcleanandsafe.com, and all the information is on it, including, for example, you have a client that wants to use a certain company and they want to know if he's clean and safe. Well, go there, because all the companies that are registered there will turn up. There is a way to ask if the company is registered. Next slide, Michelle, please. Now, measures implemented in Portugal. Face masks are necessary in all confined or enclosed space. A bit like in the UK, if you go to a shopping center, to any other place that is enclosed, you need to wear a mask. That is compulsory for everybody from the age of 10. So under the age of 10, no. After above the age of 10, you need to have a mask. Next one, please. Restaurants and bars are open in Portugal now. You have, at the moment, 6 people are allowed to be sitting inside, 10 people on the terraces. Large outdoor and indoor events are also allowed, but they are operating under reduced capacity. Cinema, theaters, auditoriums, concert halls, and so on Museums, they are now open, but all of them with restrictions in terms of the amount of people inside. Shopping centers are open until 9 o'clock during work days, until 1 p.m. on weekends. To give you an idea, normally they are open until 10, 11, 12 on normal times. Next one, please. Golf courses are all in operation and fulfilling the safety measures. Museums I've already mentioned. Access to the beaches. So people that want to go to the beach and they want to know if they will be safe. Yes, there are rules on the beaches to make sure that people are not on top of each other. Fortunately, we have an enormous coastline, and memorize this. We have in the Algarve 250 kilometers of coastline, golden sandy beaches. They are really, really lovely beaches. But there are ways of going to the beach and make sure that the beach is full or not. Because of the amount of people that can be in one space. So if you see a green sign, that means that the beach is 1/3 occupied. If you see a yellow, it's 2/3. If you see red, choose another one because that one is full. And that is the traffic light system that we have for the beaches. I think it's very much in fashion, traffic lights at the moment.
Definitely.
Next one, please. COVID measures returning to the UK. Now, your client has arrived to Portugal, has enjoyed their holiday in safety. As you can see, the clean and safe is there for them. And they already know that they don't need anything else apart from those 2 forms and the PCR test, with the exceptions that I've already mentioned for Madeira. When they want to come back, they need to know where to do a lateral flow test. That is the only thing at the moment that the UK government asks from the countries that are in the green light, which fortunately Portugal is at the moment. You can do a lateral flow test in many of the pharmacies in Portugal, in all of the clinics in Portugal. All you need to do is to make sure that you go to your accommodation and ask at the hotel where to do the test, and they will let you know. The Algarve is at the moment preparing a list of places where you can do the tests. There are some hotels that will do them at their hotels, and the other solution is at any of the airports in Portugal. So you go to the airport and book with SynLab at the airport. You go 4 hours before your flight. You do your test, which is just a saliva sample, and then you go back to the UK with your lateral flow test proof, negative, hopefully. And that's it. So you need to make sure that your clients know that when they come back to the UK, they have to have a lateral flow test. Just to add on to that, obviously, as you all know, if you are in a green country, 2 days after you arrive to the UK, you have to have a PCR test as well. But it's something that we have no control. But on the lateral flow, we have control. You can do it in many, many places in Portugal, including at the airports. It's always advisable that they book that in advance to make sure that the test is ready by the time that they are going to fly. Okay, next slide, Michelle, please. Okay, I've already explained this. So at clinics, laboratories, hospitals, and so on, you can do all different types of tests. So there you are. If you want information, there is a private group of clinics that also offer these tests, and I think they do it for free. PortugalHealthPassport.com. It's a scheme that was created by this private group, so it's not our National Health Service, because like in the UK, we don't want to overload our National Health Service with something that is more private sector, which is the tourism industry. And this group of clinics, they can also perform the test. All you need is to register, book it, go there and get the test done. For Madeira, you have Madeira Discover with information about all the different clinics in there that you can do the test.